Obviously you've been, a success, and you bought a house where? Manville? Mm-hmm. Okay. And how much?
Awesome loan officer on that deal too.
I know, he was amazing.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
My.
James Lee
title issues
loan.
and everything.
There you go, James Lee. That's what happens when you buy James Lee loan.
There you go.
And when you've got a good realtor that can help you pick, as in Dawn, and buys a house. How much was your house?
At $375.
So you paid $375. New home builder.
Yes.
Okay, who was the builder?
Weston Homes.
Weston Homes. Okay,
Weston Home. I live in a Weston Home as well.
Yeah, they don't build a bad house though. They,
Oh, that's a beautiful home.
Concerning some of the quality of some of the builders, they're actually a pretty good builder. And then you were saying, tell the story about she came in the office the other day and you explained.
Yeah, so the house across the street is one of the last houses in the neighborhood for new construction. It's actually smaller square footage, smaller lot, going for $470.
Woo! Almost $100,000 more.
Almost $100,000 more.
Oh my goodness!
And it sold at $470.
Wow,
that's amazing. Isn't that? That's just amazing.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
So it went up 30% in 12 months.
So is that
less than? I'm not even there 12 months yet.
Here's my thing with that, right? So we're in this market. Is it hyped up? Is it real? Is it? Well, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think this where we are
is partially hyped? I mean, there is an inventory shortage considering that there are more buyers in the market now. So, I mean, in just supply and demand, yes, there's more demand than supply. But if this was a normal market, if this was 2019, would we have that influx of buyers that we do now?
That's the thing. I think it gets exacerbated by the media as well. It
does, because whenever you have one of the news channels come in and say, oh my goodness, you're not going to be able to find a house. You're going to have to put $50,000 over. And then you have these other agents on their social media. They're making fun of it, and I laugh at it. I like them. It's things like that. But they're doing TikToks and reels of, we came in $50,000 over and still didn't get the house. And in some cases, that's it, but that's not every single case.
Right.
Or I can't get a house because I'm not cash. My last listing, we turned down cash offers. So cash isn't always king whenever you think of what the seller needs.
Yeah.
Some of them were, it wasn't necessarily a lowball. It was on par with some of the other ones.
Okay.
But they weren't willing to give my seller what they needed. They needed a lease back. There were certain things they needed, and they wouldn't give. So we didn't go with the cash offer.
Right, but that's one of the things that we teach you. We talk about it all the time. Give your clients value, but most of all, it's getting a strategy together that suits your seller or your buyer, and then negotiation comes in as well. And really, that's what it is, isn't it? It's putting a strategy together. It's not necessarily where it's the highest offer. We've had an instance before. We put a strategy together, and it was listed at $195, and we got it for $185. And the seller told us that there was higher offers, but they took our offer because of the strategy we put together. And what you're saying is so true.
Pick up the phone, really call the other agent. What does your seller need?
Absolutely.
Don't just automatically go, how much cash do you have? Okay, well then we're going to do $20,000 over and we'll waive appraisal. And don't automatically do that. I didn't waive appraisal on my recent
because the other agent doesn't care, and they don't really... It's like they're lazy. They don't follow through. It's a bit like I go to kick a soccer ball and I pull my leg back to kick the soccer ball, but I don't follow through to even touch the ball.
Some of them maybe, but not all of them. I think some of them just don't think on that same way. They just think, okay, highest, best offer. What's the highest and best we can do?
Right.
But that word best, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's a very good point. Very, very good point.
What does that word best mean?
Yeah.
Best is subjective to that seller. You need to find out what best is for that seller.
And we taught at a real estate school that the best contract is when great minds come together, and basically everybody's on the same page, and that's really what you're talking about. You're right in what you're saying, and it is whatever the best offer, for the meeting of the minds.
Yeah. And you and that, whether you're the buyer's agent, you got to work with the seller's agent, selling agent, working with the buying agent. You'll have to work together. It doesn't have to always come to a head where you're fighting each other.
Yes.
Like, you both want everybody to be happy. Well, I mean, you don't always want everybody to be happy.
As long as you're serving your clients, I would agree.
We both want our clients to be happy. So where's that middle ground where both clients are happy? That doesn't mean we have to be sassy to each other and rude to each other. I mean, we have a common goal.
But some agents take it on where they're a little bit egotistical, which basically, in my opinion, makes them unprofessional. And that's where I think
those are the ones that I like to school when they're wrong. That makes me happy. Is that wrong?
No, not at all. I totally agree with you. But I mean, if you can get into a position where you're like that, as long as your client is really being represented, then I think that's ideal. Sometimes it's fun to play with some of the other agents, to be perfectly honest. You know, I call it real estate poker.
When you get those that their poop don't stink, I'm just like,
yeah, well, that's because it's egotistical.
That's when that Outcast song is in my head. Yeah. Roses really smell.
My first mentor said, professionalism is taking the emotion out of the statistics and taking it out of the complete conversation and the contractual process. Get rid of the emotion. You got to leave the emotion to the buyer and the seller. And if they're going to have ones with emotion, and that's why they hire you, is because they need somebody to help them guide to not make those emotional decisions. It's like those silly love letters. I got love letters on my last listing. Did my seller see them? Nope. Sure didn't. I told them that they had them, and if they want to see them, they can see them after close.
Right.
No, she was all about wanting to see them. He was like, I don't care. What's the numbers? Right, but I didn't want it to skew their idea of an offer. So I was like, you're not going to see them. You have them. You can see them later. Because they asked, because that's also in the media, on social media, is these love letters to the sellers. She's like, did we get any? I was like, yes, but you can't see them. You can see them after.
Right. No, that makes sense, because if you take people make emotional decisions, and they're not always the best for them. And that's why we are the professionals. We're licensed and educated to be able to handle these transactions the way that they should be handled. So I respect that approach. Sure.
Yeah, okay.
He apparently doesn't.
I like to keep it professional all the way through. Perhaps that's the wrong way to be. But there you go. Yeah. When I dealt with foreclosures, and we closed 199 transactions with all that chaos in 2000. As a listing agent, I try to stay away from the conversation part. I'd speak to them, but sometimes the questions that the agents would ask are things that I know from a professional standpoint I shouldn't say. You know, how much will it take to get the deal?
Right.
You know, what do I need to offer? Full price.
Well, yeah, I mean,
even more.
That's always going to be the answer. But like, if I'm calling a listing agent in this market to find out what the seller needs, I make it clear that I'm not talking about dollar amount. I'm talking, do they need a lease back? Is there a contingency that they need on their part?
Right.
Do they need an extended closing date? Like, what is it? You know, do they want to keep the stove? I don't know. Like,
whatever it is.
What is it that we can make it more favorable?
I call that creative thinking. That's really what it is. So it works out for everybody. That's a meeting of the minds.
Absolutely.